There are so many different personality traits and psychological ways of looking at yourself. You know, I'm an empath. I'm a super empath. I'm a dark empath. I'm a light empath. I'm an INFJ. You know, I am an INFJ. If you want to find out what that is, go look it on YouTube. Their explanation of what it is who I am. But I'm also an empath. I'm also all those things I just said. And you know, I'm not a narcissist. Uh, I'm not a psychopath. I'm not dumb. I'm very sensitive. I pick up everything going on in a room. And when I walk in the room seems to stop moving. Everybody starts talking, stuff like that. But I figure out patterns. I'm very good at pattern recognition. Uh, a lot of things bore me. Uh, Small talk about the weather, talk about the Super Bowl. It bores me. I don't want to do it. It takes a lot of energy out of me because it's not feeding me, it's draining me, you know. And that's what I look for. I look for things that feed my intelligence. Add to. When I walk out of the room, I want to walk out with something instead of leaving something, you know. And I feel when I make these videos, I'm leaving something, but I'm also learning about myself. So that's what I get from it. I'm learning about my insight, learning about my abilities. You know, and I am in no way not for everyone. You know, and I'm not trying to save everyone. You know, there are certain people in hell, and they're there for a reason, and they need to stay there. You know, but I do wish them to get out. You know, and there's some of them. It's like a narcissist. You know, there's no cure for a narcissist. Today, some psychologists will tell you there's a cure, and I don't believe it. I don't see it. I think if you see a narcissist that you think you've cured, they're just lying to you. They just figured out what you want to hear and they're giving it to you. You know, that's all. That's what psychopaths do too. You know, they fake emotion, they fake empathy because they think you need to hear it. It's what you're looking for. You know, and when you find it, you stop looking. So, but I don't know. It's just my whole life. You could say of a nature over nurture. You know, I was born a certain way. I was raised a certain way. You know, I don't think that if you had a child and you raised him exactly the way I was raised, he would turn out to be me. I don't think that would happen. You know, because my ability is not in how many times I was spanked as a child, but how I looked at why I was being spanked and who was doing the spanking and uh, what was their intended result and what was their actual result. You know, my stepfather used to beat the shit out of me, and I'd say, "Is that all you got?" I didn't care. I wasn't going to give him the satisfaction to think he got me, and he didn't get me. But either way, I wasn't going to give him the satisfaction. So just what do? You know, like I came with that binary code. Yeah, that's the INFP in me, J in me. It just I see patterns. I see a problem before there is a problem. You know, uh, binary code is the next Y2K, and they're not talking about it because they don't want the panic that Y2K caused, and they don't want you to know about it. So they're trying to keep the masses stupid, and because the masses can't fix the problem, so there's no point in telling them about them. You know, it's like if is it a comet or an asteroid coming towards the Earth that's going to end all the life on Earth? They're not going to tell you. They're not going to say, there it is. We found it. There'll be a handful of people that know, but you're not going to see it on the evening news, because they don't want the panic. They don't want what's going to happen. People being raped in the street and all that kind of stuff. It's just stores being looted. For what? If an asteroid's coming, I don't know why you're raping or looting everything or doing anything like that. So. But when that kind of comes, and if you were ever warned about something like that, I don't know how you would react. I don't know that you know how to react because you've never been trained on how to react. It's not like a fire drill they did in school or when you used to put your head between your legs in the hallway because there was going to be a bombing raid during the Cold War when they made kids do that. It would go under your desk. There's a comet or an asteroid. You can go under your desk all you want, but I don't believe it's going to help you. So, it's just... That's why you'll never know. It's just going to hit. It's going to hit the Earth, and that'll be it. The dinosaurs didn't know, and neither are you. So, I don't know that there is one coming, and, of course it's a possibility. Of course it's a possibility. It happened once before, not more than once before, but, But you can't go through your life looking at the sky waiting to see the asteroid. You can't go through life like that. It's like people who live in California learn to ignore earthquakes. Like, oh, that one's so bad. We had worse, stuff like that. People in Kansas don't look at the sky looking for the next tornado. You just get numb to it, when it comes, it comes, and I'll deal with it when it comes. In the desert, they don't look for the next sandstorm. When it comes, they'll duck. They'll put a blanket over their head, whatever. So, I don't know. I've never been through any of those things. We had a minor earthquake here a while back, but it was minor. It was shocking because you never get them. I was like, what was that? It felt like a plane crashed, something like that. But it wasn't. So, like Sandy, when Sandy hit New York, it destroyed a lot of New York. And what are you going to do? You can't run from it. You can't avoid it. The wave's coming. There's nothing you can do to stop it. And there's no point in looking at the ocean all day long waiting for that next wave. The tsunami in India, it happened, and it's very rare, but it can happen again. But they still build houses on the beach. They don't stop building houses on the beach because of the tsunami. Earthquake in Japan. Very common to have earthquakes in Japan. But, they still eat sushi at lunch. Nothing changes. I don't know. But I'm very sensitive. I'm very in tuned. I can make people laugh. I'm very funny. And I can make people cry. I'm very sensitive. And I try to do both. To who deserves it, But I'm not worried. I don't try to control people. I have a hard enough time controlling myself. I don't spend my time thinking about food or money or what's on TV, or I barely watch TV. I'm mad at myself because I pay for YouTube TV, which is $100 a month, and then I pay an extra amount for HBO, and I don't watch either. I just pay the money, but I don't watch them. I mean, not for the amount of money I pay. If I'm paying over $100 a month for it, and I watch the news once in a while, it's a very expensive news show, which is what they want. That's why they do what they do. Because you still got to watch commercials. You pay the $100 a month, but you're going to watch a commercial. Not with HBO, but with YouTube TV, you watch commercials, so, which I think is ridiculous, but it's okay. Because, I noticed when you take out the commercials, it's a very much shorter show, and then you have nothing to do because the show is over so quick. And you're going to find another show, and it just, so the commercials make it so you can go to the bathroom and stuff like that. So, which is why they're there. And the selling point and the money is why they're there. But they control everything. The news, they don't make a big report about anything bad about Ozempic, because Ozempic is the leading commercial. They're making a lot of money off Ozempic on the commercials, and they're not going to report that Ozempic is really, really bad for you. They're gonna report it's really, really good for you, and that's what they do. And if there's a study that finds it's bad, they'll mention it. Highly unlikely they'll mention it on TV. It'll be in a newspaper on like the 4th or the 10th page, a little article. Ozempic causes blindness, and it does. It's been linked to blindness, so that's how it goes. But that's why you don't see Ozempic commercials anymore, because it's been linked to blindness. And they used to be on every channel. And Jardiance as well, same thing. Jardiance is just a pill form of Ozempic, pretty much same thing. But cause major stomach problems and stuff. But you lose weight. The problem is once you stop taking Ozempic, you gain all the weight back. So you got that too. You got 2 wardrobes: the post Ozempic and the pre Ozempic. That's my wardrobe. So, but they don't care. Money. That's what they care about. Money. And they're having a hard time replacing Ozempic, because Ozempic paid a high rate for their commercials, and they paid for a lot of commercials. Like every show had an Ozempic commercial. So what are they going to replace it with? Ducalax? I mean, come on. It's not the same thing, Not the same thing. It doesn't have the vibe, It's like replacing Budweiser with bottled water. It doesn't have the same vibe. It's not the same. But this is the world we live in. I don't know. And AI and all that stuff. Everything it's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. All selling points, How many people bought a iPhone 16 because it was supposed to be high tech with AI, and they just wanted to see what it did. They wanted to see what it brought to the table. It didn't bring anything. It's on my phone, but I don't even know where it is. I didn't buy the iPhone for the intelligence. I just bought it because I didn't have one. I didn't have a phone. I'm not going to buy the old phone. Buy the new phone. I don't know. You keep living in your little world and thinking you're controlling your little world. And the decisions you make make a difference, and they don't. And you don't. I think I want to destroy your perception of the world, because if you want to change the world, you have to change the way you look at it. That's what I'm trying to do. That's my objective. That's the seed I'm planting. You don't always need the award-winning rose. A regular rose will do. The only reason it's an award-winning rose is some assholes said said it's a perfect rose. You know, to me, rose is a rose, but they all smell the same. So that's all I care about, and that's all you should care about. So a phone is a phone. You don't need AI. You don't need all these things. They make you think you need them. This world survived for a very long time without computers. But now you can't live without them. You can't even drive your car without them. You can't even open your car without them. So you can't start your car without them. It's crazy. And the cars that are still on the road, like 50, 60 years old, are the ones without computers. And the ones that are in the junkyard are the ones with computers. So you gotta look at that too. You're not going to see a Tesla 30 years from now that's 30 years old. It's just not going to exist. It's not going to go to a car show. Be like, oh, look at the old Tesla. No, not like you do the Chevy or the 57 Chevy and stuff. It's just not going to happen. But whatever. Enjoy your Tesla.